So here we are, game number 1 of this best of 3, and it is going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Spawning up to the top left-hand position, representing XMG, we've got the blue Protoss player, Socke. And his opponent down to the lower right, representing ESC, the red Protoss player, ShowTime. So this is a lot of fun. Game 1, Patience took over Lambo 2-0. So that means whoever wins this will be facing off against Patience. Whoever loses this will face off against Lambo. So that means there's going to be a PvP in the winner's game and a PvZ in the loser's game. So potentially going to be PvP, or a lot more PvP, basically. Anyway, as things stand, Socke is currently chilling here. He's just like, yo, what's going up? Getting a gate first. Meanwhile, ShowTime, he's doing the same thing, because as a Protoss player, generally in PvP, unless you've had a serious blow to the head recently, you're going to open up 9 times out of 10 with this gateway first. Some may try and go for like a freaky cannon rush or something. Some may go for... Well, actually, I'm gonna say you will open with a gateway, because obviously a proxy 2 gate would be that. A proxy gate away would still be there. But otherwise, you could go Nexus first, but that would be like the ballsiest move ever. Like, crazy ballsy. I don't think I've ever seen anyone go in PvP Nexus first on a 2-player map that I think of. I'm sure there has been done, but that would be crazy. That would be insane. Anyway, this game is not too crazy. It's not too insane at the moment. We're not going to get any of that fake hyping here about how this is the greatest opening ever since sliced bread. No, this is standard game. Ooh, a little bit of misclicking there by Socke. Put a couple too many probes. That's minute loss in mining time. But at this level of play, that's quite important. Overall, both players going for very similar builds. Both players just chilling here, being like, yo, Cybercores better come down, better get everything going as good as possible. Still though, this is all looking a pretty normal game, actually, I'd say. Taking a look here, Cybercore about to finish up on both sides. Both players sitting on the double gases. That generally indicates they're going to get quite a tech-heavy opening. Could be in the way of a Stargate, could be in the way of a quick Twilight Council. Both are viable. It's a big conclusion to jump from, but considering ShowTime has a pylon back here... Actually, no, yeah, that's fine. That's Socke, not ShowTime. I was going to say that it could be a Twilight Council, but no, it looks like he's just going to be going for that Stargate. This pylon's actually really useful, because you can see if anything's hidden down here, which is something you can quite often get things sneakily placed. Meanwhile, we got the Twilight Council coming down from ShowTime, so he's going to be going a bit of a different route. One going to be going for most likely an Oracle, potentially Phoenix. The other most likely going for Blink, potentially Dark Templar. DTs are a very common opening. Or they have been an incredibly popular opening. You can sometimes just flat out win. It depends what your opponent does. But for the moment, it looks like we're going to have to wait and see. No big giveaway on what this Twilight Council is going to be used for until, of course, it is completed. There's a lot of money banked up. No probe has been pulled. That can sometimes indicate that it's going to be Blink, but no. Dark Shrine comes down. ShowTime looking to get those sneaky ninjas in the base. Sneaky ninjas all the way. So, up against an Oracle. This isn't disastrous. We've also got a proxy Twilight Council coming down from Socke. This is very interesting. And I mean very interesting. He started up with a Stargate proxy, Twilight Council off the back of this. That's probably going to be for a Dark Shrine, considering the probe has stayed there. Now, the reason this is cool is because what could happen is ShowTime could see this Oracle and go, right, I need to make some Stalkers. Won't really worry about getting down a robotics facility or any kind of detection for a while, and will then be like, oh, okay. However, he is aware that he probably needs to get an Observer out anyway, because he's got the robo facility on its way out. Dark Shrine nearly done. In terms of defensive units to deal with this, there's only 2 Stalkers down. Mothership Core, though, is going to be able to Photon Overcharge. The Oracle forced away, but it's used up the energy. That's quite important. It's also been seen that that's coming through. So are we going to get the Observer? That is always an important thing to keep an eye out for. ShowTime is still chilling around here. He's got the 2 Stalkers ready to start poking and prodding any Oracles to try and sneak on by. The Oracle, unfortunately for him, or her, I don't know whether Oracles are male or female, has no kills. He's going to be sad about that. He's going to be chilling there being like, oh, I really wanted to get a kill. We are getting 1 Observer up, and look at the rally point. It's going all the way across the map to the natural base of his opponent. So unless he makes a second one, could be a very, very sad Protoss player if a Dark Shrine comes through. If the DTs come through. Dark Shrine is about half done at the moment for Socke, so plenty of time for ShowTime to consider getting down a second observer. All in all, ShowTime just sending up that first DT. Now, I can't quite squeeze through. DT's a little bit too fat. A couple of swipes coming through, but actually forcing the Stalker down. That was a bit of a miss. Micro, and there's still a gap. There's still a gap. Oh, my goodness, this is problematic. Where's the Oracle? The Oracle frantically trying to come back, but it doesn't have enough energy for the Revelation yet. Now does. Instantly kicks it in. Photon overcharge there, but already that Dark Templar racks up a decent amount of damage. 6 kills. If we look at the units lost, 4 probes, 1 Stalker, 1 Sentry for a DT. That is a good DT. That Dark Templar died a hero. Anyway, counter DT is now coming through. Is there a second observer coming through? No, it is an Immortal on its way out at the moment. The first observer all the way over here. Okay, so it's not actually too far away. It's relatively close. One coming into the natural base, one heading for the main. DT on DT action is always very stressful. Probes getting swished and swiped and swashed. Couple getting taken out. Overall, 4 workers killed compared to 5. The rest of the workers have been pulled away. The observer going to try and sneak on by. Going to try and find it. Dark Templar. Oh, he's cornered. Poor DT. He's going to die. Still, some nice damage done. Everything looking good at the moment. Both players have taken losses, but neither catastrophic amounts. Definitely, even without looking at the resource tabs, we know that Socke came off worse there, and that's because of the Sentry and Stalker losses. He also spent 3 Dark Templar in order to make that happen. So while he killed 7 workers as opposed to the 4, he lost a lot more gas because of it, and gas is very, very annoying early game for Protosses, especially when they both delayed their natural bases quite considerably to make this work. Waiting now to see when and if we get a little bit of poking and prodding. ShowTime is moving across the map. He's got the 2 Immortals, so that gives him a massive advantage over Socke at the moment. Remember, Socke losing that gas means he can't really afford to get out many Immortals himself. Can't afford to pump out Sentries as well. So he's very Zealot heavy in this composition, which isn't necessarily awful, but it's not great for him either. Socke now sees these Stalkers coming up, loses his Observer already. An Oracle also on its way forward. Not going to be able to do too much. It's going to act as a bit of a distraction here. The Immortals starting to shell on through, trying to get that damage out as fast as they can. Force Whip being utilized by ShowTime. Going to allow him to pick up the remainder of these Zealots. The Mothership Core has triggered Photon Overcharge. That Nexus Cannon dishing out a fair bit of damage is always annoying. ShowTime though, backs out, waits patiently, ready to re-engage. Has got a proxy pylon up, can get reinforcements through thanks to these 3 gateways he's got. ShowTime is a little bit behind in the +1. Meanwhile, obviously Socke slightly ahead in that therefore. ShowTime though, he's in a very nice spot, moving in. He knows this Photon Overcharge is going to depower shortly, although his timing is a little bit off there. Sees the Immortal, loses a couple of units in exchange for that. Needs to get a couple more warp-ins coming through, although his money's very low. Has he just done a warp-in? I don't believe he has, so wait to see when that next warp-in will come through. Going to be very important to see it. Meanwhile, behind this, a robotic space, so it's not even going to be an attempt for ShowTime to end this game. Socke has been able to deflect this problem for the meantime, but at what cost? He's still lost a lot more resources. About 725 more resources down the pattern. And in terms of how that looks out, obviously it's a lot more Zealots, so that's alright. Losing the Zealots isn't the end of the world. It's definitely better than losing more gas-heavy units. It's the 3 DTs and the Oracle that don't really make up for the 4 Stalkers and a Sentry, or the 3 additional Stalkers. So that's a bit of a pain overall. In gas losses, it's definitely higher. Over on Socke's side, yeah, he's lost 750 gas compared to 425. Well, both players are now up on those 4 Vespian Geysers, though. Still keeping a good close eye on third base timings. Obviously, we've got ShowTimes coming through. I don't think Socke's going to be able to afford a third for a while unless he does cut production momentarily. He doesn't really have much in the way of a bank. He's been producing a heck of a lot of units, so looks like he's going to opt for the delay of other stuff in order to get this third started up. He's very acutely aware that it's required. Doesn't actually see his opponent's third as of yet, but can start the Nexus nonetheless, already reaching that 400 minimal mark. Chucking down a pylon first just to allow reinforcements to come through there. Still waiting. Are we going to get that Nexus down? Should get started. It's going to be quite a way behind. There we go. So it's about 70-ish seconds behind that of ShowTime's. Very annoying. Got another Dark Templar coming through. This is going to check and possibly try and cancel the third of ShowTime. Does he have an observer anywhere near? He's got 2 of them on the map, one with his army, one scouting over the other side, so he does know that the threat of this could come through. The first Colossus has now popped out for ShowTime as well. He's adding in extended thermal lance, and that's going to be really important for him. He wants to get that extended thermal lance down, wants to be making sure that he can keep a good amount of damage coming through when and if needed. Quick little look now, ShowTime. preparing to wander forth, preparing to get a bit more damage out if he can find it. That Dark Templar, where'd he go? Where'd that Dark Templar go? There he is. Okay, so he's swiping away. He's got 3 kills. Dies in the process. Worker kills 13 to 5, so good advantage there for socke, but the worker count regardless is level pegging. Especially when you factor in that the 3rd Nexus is now done for Showtime and socke still isn't finished up. That's a good couple of probe cycles coming through. If we take an actual look, so already another probe can squeeze out compared to the one already there. So that's going to probably allow Showtime to get a fair way ahead in terms of the probe count, at least by a few. And that's surprisingly important. Tech-wise as well, Showtime is ahead. The robotics bay only now just kicking in for socke. Socke, level on charge, level on upgrades now. Very, very small lead in terms of that +2 timing. Army composition now becomes critically important. We've got 5 Immortals compared to 3. An Archon, and of course those 2 Colossi, though, are going to be helping bolster Showtime's composition. The 2 Colossus going to really start dishing out a lot of damage, and catching up in the Colossus count is always a very challenging thing to do. Something that I'd imagine socke wouldn't like having to do if he could avoid it. Generally, you want to stay quite level pegging there. Quick little check now as a hallucinated Phoenix comes on through. Going to be checking up into the main base, get a look at the tech. I believe that the Colossus has already been seen, or the Colossus tech yet has, so the robotics bay is known about to socke. Socke adding in a 2nd robotics facility now, so that's going to really aid him pumping out the double Colossus if he can afford it, though. At the moment he can't afford it, and that's a problem for him. He really needs to ramp up that production just to get it level. Ideally, this is a good opportunity for Showtime to engage. He's up quite steeply in the army supply count. He's got the 3 Colossi compared to none. So while he's down a little bit in the Immortal count, he does have a couple of Archons there that will definitely aid the engagement. The Archon's also going to be able to break any force field should they try and come down, as with the Colossus. Photon Overcharge comes down, but this means the 3rd base now is a good target. The Colossi waiting to go. A Photon Overcharge doesn't really want to get triggered too soon. It's going to be a Time Warp. That means that socke is forcing this engagement to go through to the bitter end. He's hoping that he's got the better numbers. The Immortals are dishing out a heck of a lot of damage, but the Colossi stay alive for the moment. The Colossus dishing out the damage beautifully. All 3 still standing for the time being. One very, very injured. Showtime, he is really powering forward with this. His army is able to hold it out, and this is looking like it's going to be a win for the ESC player. Showtime in a very, very good spot. 4 times up in supply, and there is the GG. Showtime takes game number 1 of this best of 3.